height discrepancy. I'm going to stand on my toes. Hi, everybody. Good morning, afternoon. My name is Rose McGowan. I'm here visiting the United States of America for the first time in almost 2 years. And the environment, the energy of it, as so many of you know, is really hardcore. It's not okay. And it seems to be especially strong in California, a state I stayed in and fought for years because the land, because the sacrifices that people have made to be here and to make it better. It gives me no great pleasure to call out Democrats. I was a Democrat. The very first activism I did was when my mother sent me out. When we first came to America from Italy, I was sent out to pass out cigarettes that said, "Vote Dukakis." For the young people, that guy was never going to win. I still have that cigarette somewhere. I've been involved in politics behind the scenes, fascinated by it for many years, and how it really does affect and change lives in more ways than we know. And for me, when I was younger, I bought the whole right-wing machine coming after Hillary Clinton, sexism, which is true, that's not wrong. But it doesn't mean it wasn't used as a shield to get away with a lot of nasty things. And so finally I had to come to the point where I'm not a Democrat, because everybody who's systematically traumatized, terrorized, harassed, stalked, and stolen from me during my time in California and in Hollywood has been a Democrat. What a bummer for me. What a bummer to realize that behind the scenes, it's not real. And something people don't know about me, I was also a lobbyist in Washington, D.C. I did a lot of strange things because I was bored with acting in general. It was just a day job for me. I never wanted to be. I was discovered, and I thought, well, after I quickly realized I was stuck on the wrong side of the screen and could not get back out, I thought, well, how can I use cameras and microphones eventually to change lives? How can I get to an unfireable position so they can't stop me? I'm going to life hack their system, which is what I'm doing. I'm using their airwaves, their media. But every single one of you in here really knows what the skinny is, what the truth is, unless you really want to live a lie. And the thing I realized during the lobbying group that I was with, no labels, Republicans and Democrats working across the aisles. What that meant to me was behind the scenes, I got to see them all with no cameras. And they were all pretty much talking the same game. And they were kind of all in on it together. And I just thought, this is horrible. The first real act of public activism I did was not exposing Monster Weinstein. It was several years before that. I was at an event a month before the Hillary-Trump election in New Hampshire. And I realized in this room of the most powerful Democrats and Republicans, with no cameras there, they were saying who they were. So I tricked a young assistant with a little headpiece. After the governor speaks, they want you to bring me the microphone. Now, I had only seen hijacking in movies, so I didn't know what to say when I got up in front of this very powerful room that I didn't know where I was that night. So I got up, and I said, "This is a hijacking." I didn't know how to express exactly what I was doing. I still really don't know how to express exactly what it is I do. So it gets very confusing for people. I understand that. Can you please turn the dinger off on your phone, whoever has it on? Thank you. But what I do is tell the truth. It doesn't give me pleasure. Believe me. But one truth I do know is this man here, Larry Elder. I used to listen to Larry Elder after I would drive home from the set, or if I got off early, I would listen to him on AM radio 640. Probably the only actress in Hollywood doing so. Sometimes I would even pull over and use a fake name, usually Tracy. to call in and argue or commend. And from him, I learned about the corruption in the teachers' union in the California state. I learned how the state legislature used to be 6 months, but then we have to go 12 months because they'll do more work for the people of California. What a lie. What a lie. So I ask you today, do you want to keep living this collective lie? Do you want to star in their movie? Or do you want to be real? Do I agree with him on all points? No. So what? He is the better candidate. He is the better man. And I've heard him for hours and hours and hours, for years. I really got to know his mind. Thank you. It was nice spending time with you, sir. He's a brilliant man. He cares. He cares about what a lot of us just nitpick at. And you're not saying the right word, or you're not doing this right, or you're not inclusive, you're not tolerant. First of all, someone told me they tolerated me. Does that sound like a nice way to think of people or be treated? I don't think so. And I know how they smeared me in the media, because so many of the people you work for are part of it, and you know it. And I don't know why. I don't know why. Like, what is the gain? Is it short-term power? Is it short-term gain? Why would you sell out your people, your citizens, yourself, your family, your loved ones? For what? For money? For the illusion of power? For the stranglehold you have on keeping people undereducated, underemployed, and terrorized by your government? Why? My enemies do not understand me. Okay, I don't understand them. We're at a fundamental impasse at that point. So imagine my surprise last week when I'm on the Dave Rubin show and we're talking about the recall, which I'd only had kind of a tangential awareness of because I live in Mexico, I live in the jungle. It took a lot for me to come to the US. I'm scared of this place. It's been very cruel to me. It has not been kind. A lot of people in this country like to kill that which they don't understand. It's like a cult. I grew up in one. I would know. I know all the markers. So I'm asking people watching or people reporting on this. First of all, don't report on me as an actress. I hung up that shingle 10 years ago. I fought my way out of that world. I deserve more respect than that. Thank you. That's a side note. So imagine my surprise when I'm on air with Dave, and I said, yeah, it came back to me. Gavin Newsom's ex-wife contacted me. And I said her name, and he said, that's his current wife. I said, it is? I mean, I had so many monsters after me during the period that she made contact. An organization called We Are Ultraviolet that I do not trust, a feminist activism group, got a hold of me and said, Jennifer Siebel Newsom, she's a big producer of feminist films and Hollywood documentaries. She's pro-women. She'll help you. I just directed a movie. It was nominated for Grand Jury Prize at Sundance. And because of the consistent and total blacklisting that I'd endured for almost all of my career, as haphazard as it was, after Weinstein assaulted me, I thought maybe someone will help me finally. Maybe somebody will be real. Maybe this will be the one. Because I always hope. They haven't taken that away from me. God, they've come close. So after Dave tells me that she's his current wife, on the way home, I go through my emails. And I'm like, and I remembered, I said, yeah, his ex-wife called me and said, what will it take? What can Boyce Schiller do to make you happy? Now, I had no idea who Boyce Schiller was at this point. This is about 4.5 months before the expose that I set up in the New York Times came out. I didn't know who David Boyce was. I didn't know he was an operator trying to suppress me. At this point, I did not know that he had already gone to former Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Barak of Israel and say, who should I hire to stop Rose McGowan? I did not know. I could feel the shadow of people around me. I found recording devices in my car, in my house. nude photos hacked and disseminated, courtesy of whom I believe to be Lisa Bloom, another big feminist attorney, another big Democrat. So when I finally got on the phone with Jennifer Siebel Newsom for what I assumed was about movie projects, imagine my surprise when she says, "What can Boyce Schiller do to make you happy?" And I had no idea who that was. So I just said nothing and hung up on her. That was my last contact with her. And then the expose broke. And I spent years setting this up, years behind the scenes. Hounded at every turn. So then I go through my emails, and I remembered, upon seeing this long email, where Jennifer Siebel Newsom is inferring that she was a Weinstein rape victim, to get into this private email group of Weinstein rape victims. And the other day, I was reading it, and I was like, oh, I had forgotten about this lady. I had forgotten about this treachery, because there were so many. It was coming at me every day from all sides. My only goal was to take down some monsters and show people that you do not have to be out there with a picket sign. You do not have to bite at the ankles of power. You do have to cut off its head. And it is a hydra. It is a many-headed beast. You get one down, another pops up. That's what I was dealing with. Plus global derision, paid-off media that Weinstein had paid off for so many years to destroy me because I never signed a non-disclosure agreement. He was right. I was his enemy. And he was correct. I am formidable. Again, it doesn't make me happy. I always just wanted a life where I could walk in the grass and stare at some trees. Pretty simple. But it didn't turn out that way. So I thought, I'm going to keep life hacking this system. And I don't care if nobody ever believes me, because I was there. I know the truth. I don't believe in gaslighting. I refuse to be tricked. And every line in this email to the Weinstein victims, talking about me and my paranoia, and the reason I suspect her to be a spy is because of my trauma. She starts it with, "Please turn off the dings, thank you." She starts it with, "I'm writing from the Bahamas." Okay, thanks for being rich. I don't know what you're trying to say. Imagine my surprise as I get deeper and deeper into this, that I find out, and it's not on Google, definitely on it, by the way, on DuckDuckGo, I find out that, in fact, her brother-in-law is David Boyce's law partner, Schiller's son. So today we look up DuckDuckGo. We put in his name, her brother-in-law. I find out he's arrested for beating his wife. Imagine my surprise. These are your leaders. These are who you vote for. And these are who you're attacking. This man, me, and anybody who's like, why not change? Why not be better? So as an outsider, someone not from this country, this country changed my name the first day I got here at 11. My name is Rosa Ariana. They changed it to Rose. I forgot that till 2 years ago. It has stolen so much. And it does it to all of you. I traveled the world and I've had so many people say to me, Americans are the most uneducated. Not wrong, but they are wrong in this. It's undereducated. It's systematic, and it's done to you all on purpose, to keep you part of a complicity machine that benefits you. This is not a country or a state for everyone. This is a country for the few. This is a country for people like hair gel in the Bahamas. Okay, that's the reality. And I really wish I had better news. It gives me no pleasure to be the bearer of truth, which is sometimes ugly. But do you want a society that has gangrene on its leg, but puts on a fancy suit and pretends it's not there while they hobble in pain? Or do you want to just stop, look at reality, take your medicine, clean up the wound, and run? Run free. Why not change? Why not go big? Why not put a stake in the heart of evil? Because that's what this really is. This is good and this is evil. And if you're tired of people looking at this country like it's the Florida of the world, which it is, looked upon that way, because, it's earned it in a lot of ways. I know this place has it in it to be better. I know it does. I've met so many good people in this country. Not the elites. Absolutely not. But the person I meet, that's the housekeeper at the hotel I'm staying at, who shouldn't even have that title because she's a queen of a woman. And then we have the Jennifer Siebel Newsoms of the world. Why? Why do you keep choosing them? Why do you keep electing them? Don't listen to their buzzwords. Cult leaders, which is what these people are. I would know, I grew up in one, like I said. They massage your mind. They keep you in fear. They keep you in doubt. I kind of suspect on the inside that this is all a lie. But I don't want to be the one that stands out, takes it on the chin. Well, I'm here to confirm for you, it is a lie. It is a fact. And when I say things, people are like, I'm sorry you feel that way. I'm like, I didn't tell you how I felt about it. I told you a fact. That's a different thing. Start noticing in your life how many times people will tell you, oh, I'm sorry you feel that way. And start being brave enough to stand out, brave enough to be different, brave enough to challenge. Does it cost? Yes. But if we all do it, it will get so much easier. It will get so much better. I believe in this man because I know his mind, and I would like to think on some level I know his heart. Take away the Republican word, take away the Democrat word, okay? Who do you want to govern you? Someone who cares passionately, even though you may disagree with him on some points? Or do you want somebody who's really operating behind the scenes to keep you all in ignorance while they rob the bank and go to the Bahamas? My money's on Elder. Not that I have any, because they took that too. Thank you for listening. Thank you for hearing. And I really appreciate anybody watching or reading this to think differently, to be brave, do something that's weird, like maybe voting Republican, even though it will feel strange cellularly. I felt that way when I first went on Fox News. I was like, weird. I get it, right? But that's okay. Because right now, y'all are in a pickle. It's not going so well here, is it? It's not. I know you can do better. I know you can be better. And I know this is the person that can push that better for all of us, for all of you. Systemic change is what's needed. Go big. Because it's not going well. So you have a choice. Stay status quo. Or be brave. I vote for bravery. I vote for Larry Elder.
I want to say a few things about the way I've been covered during this campaign, the way I've been treated during this campaign, and how hypocritical members of the media have been in this campaign before I get to Mrs. Gavin Newsom. Rose wrote a book called Brave. There's another woman in this room who's very, very brave. Her name is former State Senator Gloria Romero. She's a Democrat. She's still a Democrat. She didn't renounce her party. But she crossed party lines in order to support me, primarily because of one issue. And that issue is school choice. She believes, and I believe, that the money should follow the child rather than the other way around. We're spending about $15,000 per student per year. I think only about 15 or 16 states are spending more. And the money should go into an account that the parent chooses. Because she knows, and I know, that the kids living in the city are getting the worst teachers, the worst principals, the worst administrators, the worst outcomes, and almost takes an act of Congress to fire a bad teacher. So for that primary reason, she supported me. Regarding school choice, speaking of hypocritical, President Barack Obama, when he was living in Indonesia, his stepfather was an oil company executive. He attended a private school that was set up for oil company executives. But his mom felt that school wasn't good enough. She sent him back to Hawaii to live with her parents, and he attended the finest prep school in Hawaii called Punahou. He then comes to Los Angeles after he graduated from high school. and goes to a fine private school called Occidental. He finishes up at Columbia, another private school. Then he goes to Harvard. His wife, Michelle Robinson, grew up in Chicago, and while she did attend a public high school, it wasn't her nearby public high school because she thought it wasn't good enough. So she got on a bus and traveled miles away to go to a better high school. The Obama children, Sasha and Malia, they attended a private school that was set up for the teachers who teach at University of Chicago, where Obama was a law instructor. And then when the Obamas moved to Washington, D.C., Michelle made a big display of checking out the public schools and publicly said she might consider putting the kids in public school right. Put them in Siebel, friends, the same prep school that Chelsea went to that cost $40,000 a year. The girls never set foot in a public school. Obama never set foot in a public school. And Michelle Robinson attended a better high school outside of her area rather than to go to the nearby inferior public school. Then when Obama became president, he shut down the D.C. Opportunity Scholarship Program that was set up by George W. Bush that gave vouchers to kids 12 through K. It was reauthorized under President Trump. My point is the Democratic Party has been the principal obstacle towards urban kids getting the first step towards getting to the middle class, which according to the Brookings Institution, which is a left-wing think tank, means at least finish high school, presumably one where you can read, write, and compute at grade level. Hypocrisy number 2. I was interviewed this morning by Garrett, Major Garrett, who's now with CBS. And he asked me whether or not I thought the election results, the recall election, would be fair, would I respect the results. I've been asked that question a lot about the 2020 election. And I said to Major, just once, I'd like somebody to ask my opponent, Gavin Newsom, does he respect the 2016 election? Because Hillary, for 4 years, referred to that election as having been stolen. Her word, not mine. She didn't just say it once or twice or 3 times. She said it constantly. For the entire 4 years of the last administration, she referred to it as stolen. She referred to the former president as illegitimate. Not just once, not just twice, constantly. To the point where 2/3 of Democrats falsely believe that the Russians changed vote tallies, even though the Senate report found no such evidence. Russians tried, but they found out that 0 vote tally was changed, yet 66% of Democrats falsely, incorrectly, wrongly believe that vote tallies were changed by the Russians. The Senate report also found no evidence one way or the other whether or not the Russians changed the outcome of the election in 2016. According to Gallup, 78% of Democrats believe, quote, the Russians changed the outcome of the election, close quote. Yet nobody ever asked Gavin Newsom, does he believe, as Hillary believes, the election was stolen? And if he doesn't believe that, no one ever asked Gavin Newsom, do you believe her social media platform should be shut down for promoting the so-called big lie about the 2016 election? Hypocrisy number 3. The other day in Venice, at a homeless encampment, some white woman in a gorilla mask threw an egg at me. It would have been a major story if I had a D at the end of my name. They'd be talking about it in Bangladesh. They'd be calling it a hate crime. They'd have a manhunt for her. But because I have an R at the end of my name, nobody gives her credit. Now, I've never, ever played the race card. I've never told people to vote for me because I'm black or to vote against me because I'm black. But I will tell you something. There was an article on the front page of the New York Times, all about me, negative of course. Never once mentioned that I am black, never once mentioned that I would be the first black governor of California. That's fine with me. But on the same page, long article about the, quote, first female governor of New York, close quote. So it was relevant to the New York Times when this female governor, who only became governor because Cuomo resigned, was the first. But it's not relevant that I'm the first black governor of California. Hypocrisy, double standard. Now, I was accused of sexism because I wrote a column 21 years ago where I was quoting a study from the University of Pennsylvania, Annenberg, where they asked women 25 questions and men 25 questions about politics. And it turned out men knew more than women did in 15 of the questions. They knew the same in 9, and women knew only more in 1. And I quoted a female professor who's still there, and she said the reason women knew less is because they get their primary source from local news. My apologies to people here from local news. And she said, and I quote, watching local news makes you dumber, close quote. I didn't say it, she did. And all of a sudden, I'm sexist and I believe that women are less intelligent than men. You didn't? I've written 1,200 articles. I've written an article once a week since April of 1998. I wrote about the fact that women make more money than men, young women do. I wrote about the fact that there are more women in college than men. I wrote about the fact that when it comes to medical school and law school, the percentages of men and women equal entering medical school and law school is now the same. No one mentioned that. But you find some article I wrote where I was quoting somebody else, and now all of a sudden I am a sexist pig. Someone made a false allegation against me. I denied it. You've heard the allegation that Rose just made about Gavin Newsom's wife. She made the allegation, 3 days ago? Where's the Washington Post? Wrote the article about me. Where's the New York Times? Wrote the article about me. Where's CNN? Where's Politico? Where are you? If this had been made about me, my girlfriend standing over there, if someone had said my significant other contacted on behalf of attorney Boyce, who's Harvey Weinstein's lawyer, and called Rose McGowan and said, what can we do to make you go away? What can we do to make this happy? That's all you guys will be talking about between now and the end of my campaign. This is a double standard to which I've been subjected to my entire time, and I'm sick of it. And you ought to be sick of it. Where's your integrity? Where's your fairness? Now, what Rose said about Gavin Newsom's wife is a bombshell. This is a man who the other day, because he was trying to do a counterpoint to me, women are smarter than men. Women are they're better politicians. They're better. Where is he? Where are you? His wife contacts Rose and says, what can we do to make you happy? What can we do to make this story go away? Right before the Harvey Weinstein story blew up. That's all you guys would be talking about if the allegations were made about me or my significant other. Any questions?
We're going to take some questions. If you could raise your hand if you have a question.
Questions for Rose or questions for me?
Sure. Steve Gregory, KFI 640, local news.
And by the way, she said 640, she meant 790 kgs.
Oh, shit.
No, I know, and that's fine.
That's all right.
I wondered that myself, but I'll take the credit. Thank you for that. No, seriously, Larry, you seem kind of surprised by all of this. Didn't you know that this was going to be the case when you got into this race? Didn't you know this?
Didn't I know that the media had a double standard and I would be subjected to hypocrisy on the part of you guys? Yes, I knew.
Well, actually, no. The question is, sir, is didn't you know that this was going to be sort of a dirty fight? I mean, because you know that there was going to be a battle. This was not going to be an easy thing. You understood that.
I knew what I was getting into.
But that doesn't make it okay.
Come to the mic, please, if you're going to speak. Thank you.
But that does not make it okay. It does not make it okay that the New York Times has 98.5% of its readers identifying as Democrats. But people yell about Fox News, only Republicans watch it, right? And when your question, you're a part of it. I don't know your coverage, I don't know your work. I'm sure it's stellar, truly. But you're a part of it. Didn't you know it was going to be a dirty fight? Yeah. Does that make it okay? And does that make you all not complicit in it? Does it make the New York Times, who got a Pulitzer off of me calling them, unlike what Jodi Kantor, the journalist who won a Pulitzer off of my bravery? And they lied in their book, and they said they called me another New York Times lie. And they have blanket silenced me since I've supported Tara Reid against Joe Biden. But they care. But they care. And every feminist organization in this country is in on it. Every big one now. Ultraviolet, like all of them, certainly Time's Up. I knew my fight was going to be ugly. Does that make it okay? And does that not make every single person asking that question and yet not commenting or contextualizing things correctly okay? No, it does not, sir.
Well, our next question comes from David Weigel.
I'd like to say one other thing too. What I find kind of amazing about this race, Rose, virtually nobody has defended Gavin Newsom's record on almost anything. We have Barack Obama cutting a commercial for him. Bernie Sanders, who owns 3 houses, cutting a commercial for him. Senator Warren cuts a commercial for him. And nobody utters the following words. Gavin Newsom has done a fine job for the people of California. Crime is over. Homelessness is over. People are leaving California for the first time in the history of the state. We're 170 years old. It's never happened before. And when people making between 50 and 100K leave, the number one reason they cite, they cannot afford the price of a house. more businesses have left in 2021 than have left all of last year, and the rate at which businesses are leaving is twice the rate in the last 3 years. We have the highest state income tax in the nation, 13.3, and it's the biggest revenue stream of California, the income tax. 1% out of 40 million people in California pay half that state income tax, and they're leaving, and they're taking the tax base with them, leaving less money for fire suppression, less money for schools, less money for roads. The man has mismanaged the forest. We're having rolling brownouts. I can't think of any front, declining quality of public education, the rise in cost of living, the rise in homelessness, the way he ignores science and shut down this state, his forest management, rolling brownouts. I can't think of any front at all where this man has done a good job. And you guys want to talk about other stuff. And that's because this man, Gavin Newsom, has been able to switch this thing from a referendum on his behavior, his governance, into a Republican takeover. As if that has anything to do with crime. As if that has anything to do with homelessness. As if that has anything to do with the outrageous cost of living. The average price of a home in California is now 150% more than the national average. 150% more. If you look at the percentage of people living in LA who are black and in San Francisco who are black over the last 20 years, it's declined. Primary reason, the price of a home. This state's in trouble. And forget about all these right-wing conservative talking points. There's a left-wing magazine called The Atlantic. A few months ago, article, The California Dream is Dying. All the things I've talked about. Declining public schools. The stranglehold environmentalists have over Sacramento. High cost of living. High homelessness. The California Dream is dying. I urge you all to check it out. Every single talking point I've made has been made in that magazine, and these are not Republicans.
Next question, David Weigel, Washington Post.
Thank you. One question for Rhodes. You described emails and phone calls. You talked about having receipts on Twitter. Are you willing to produce, show the emails to the press? And then I have a question for Larry separately. Ms. McGowan described why she thinks this is a voting issue, but could you expand on why Gavin Newsom's name is on the ballot but not his wife's? Could you expand after that question on why this should be a voting issue for people who sometimes separate a spouse from a candidate?
Well, I'll take that one. Is that okay, Larry? Yeah, I'll tell you why. You don't think Jennifer Siebel Newsom went home that night after first making contact with me and talking to her husband. And if her brother-in-law is Schiller, Boyce's partner's son, that makes him the brother-in-law of Gavin Newsom. They're all in it together, okay? Obama's daughter interned for my rapist 2 months before I exposed him in the New York Times. They're all in on it, and you know it. That's a disingenuous question, friend.
On the other part of it, though,
The receipts, yes. I sent the emails to Politico this morning. Those are all screenshots of her emails, the ones I posted. I just didn't put in, her name on it. But those are not me writing out anything. Those were the actual emails. But I can certainly, and have. I sent them to Politico this morning. I challenge you to put them in. I challenge you to cover it. And I challenge you not to refer to me as an actress and not to refer to him in a dismissive way. Do better, please. We need you. We need all of you.
Ms. McGowan.
Okay.
This is the last question. I just want to make one more statement. I don't know if the LA Times is here, but I was described by the LA Times as, quote, the black-faced white supremacist. All because I don't believe in the lie of systemic racism. And it is a lie. When Barack Obama ran for president in 2007, he was running against Hillary for the nomination on the Democratic side. A Mormon named Mitt Romney was running for the nomination against John McCain on the Republican side. And Gallup tried to find out which one of these four politicians had the biggest hurdle. They asked Americans, would you never vote for a black president? 5% said they would not vote for a black president under any circumstances. 11% said they would not vote for a female. 24% said they would not vote for a woman. 42% said they would not vote for a man who would be as old as John McCain would have been, 72 years old, had he won. So Obama had a smaller hurdle than these people. I don't know if the CNN is here. CNN had a study in 1997, 24 years ago. They asked black teenagers and white teenagers about racism. And not too surprisingly, both of them said that racism was a major problem. But then Time and CNN did this, and I'd never seen this done before. They asked the black teenagers whether racism was a big problem, a small problem, or no problem in their own daily life. 89% of black teens called racism in 1997, 24 years ago, either a small problem or no problem in their own daily life. In fact, more black teens than white teens said, and this is verbatim, more black teens than white teens said, failure to take advantage of available opportunities is a bigger problem than racism, end quote. That was before Obama got elected, let alone re-elected. Speaking of whom, he gave a speech at a black church in 2007 when he was running. And he's talking about racism. And he said, the Moses generation, referring to the generation of Martin Luther King, has, quote, gotten us 90% of the way there. 90%, which I thought was reasonable. I once saw a poll that said 8% of Americans believe Elvis is still alive. He then said the Joshua generation, referring to his generation, has to get us an additional 10%. First time he was interviewed on 60 Minutes was Steve Croft. And he hadn't yet caught Hillary yet. He was running for the nomination. But he was coming, otherwise they wouldn't have interviewed him. And Steve Croft said, Senator, if you don't get the nomination, will it be because of racism? And Senator Obama said, no. If I don't get the nomination, it will be because I have not articulated a vision that the American people can embrace. Now I'm sitting home watching this. I said, hallelujah. I don't vote for Democrats because I want lower taxes, lower regulation, strong borders, and strong national security. But at least he's going to be a racial reconciliator, I said to myself. Before he got elected, before he entered the Oval Office, I should say, I think he won with 52% of the vote in 2008. You know what his popularity was? 70%. Before he set foot in the White House. Many people who didn't vote for him said, okay, I don't want to vote for somebody whose tax has been regulated, soft on national security, soft on the borders, but he'll at least bring us together so we can pull for him. 70% popularity. And what did he do with that? The Cambridge police acted stupidly. No, they didn't. If I had a son who looked like Trayvon, what does that even mean? Racism is in America's DNA, he said. Really? The first time Gallup asked about racism, about whether or not you would vote for a black president, was 1958. And the percentage who said yes was in the high 30s. Now only 3% said they would not vote for a black president. He invited Al Sharpton to the White House over 70 times, one of the most vicious race hustlers in America, who, by the way, is now a Democrat kingmaker. Google Al Sharpton, Democrat kingmaker. A guy who became famous by falsely accusing a white man of raping a black woman is a Democrat kingmaker. A man who was in the thick of Crown Heights in 1991 and said to Jews, if you want to pin your yarmulkes on your head, come over to my house, let's get it on, is a Democrat kingmaker. A man who was in the streets of Ferguson before 1 minute was taken, one word of testimony was taken, yelling, no justice, no peace, is a Democrat kingmaker. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. Obama had a great opportunity to bring us together. And instead, because he wanted power, he wanted the Democratic Party to remain in power, he knew that if he played the race card and got 13% of the black vote all upset about social justice issues, we're not going to talk about schools, let's not talk about streets, safe streets, let's not talk about whether or not I have a job, let's talk about racial justice. That's what the party is all about. And he divided this country. I'm going to be a uniter when I become governor. I'm going to use my bully pulpit to unite us. Because we have far more in common than we have apart.
That's right.
Back in 1991, a black Harvard sociologist, I don't know any sociologist who's a conservative, do you? A black Harvard sociologist named Orlando Patterson said this, 1991. America, despite its flaws, is the least racist majority society in the world, provides more opportunities than any other country in the world, including all of those of Africa. That was before Obama got elected, let alone re-elected. My final thought. In the mid-60s, Martin Luther King gave an interview to British television. This is 2 years after the Civil Rights Bill was passed. And he said, the changes in America have surprised me to the point where I believe in about 40 years' time or less, there could be a black president. Almost on cue, there was a black president. He didn't say black CEO of a Fortune 500 company. We've had those. He didn't say a black governor of one of the original states of the Confederacy. We've had that. He didn't say there'd be black senators. He didn't say 10% of Congress would be black. He didn't say there'd be a black president of an Ivy League university, which has happened. He said there would be a black president, meaning once that happens, it's done. It's done. We're here. We can now start dealing with people based on content of character, not color of skin. Instead, Democrats have doubled down and doubled down and doubled down on things like critical race theory and reparations, which is the extraction of money from people who were never slave owners to be given to people who were never slaves. Thank you all for coming.
Mr. Elder, I have a question. I have a question for you, Mr. Elder.
As a comment on what you just said, which is people will disavow that mostly white people that work in the media will disavow what he just said. But understand who it's coming from and that he might just know more than you living in a different skin. I was just in Portland, Maine with a friend of mine who's from Nigeria but went to school at Oxford in the UK. And there were, in the whitest town I've ever been in, Portland, Maine, there were Black Lives Matter signs everywhere. But like kind of really over the top. And he kept taking photos of them. And I turned to him and I asked him, how does that make you feel? And he looked at me with tears in his eyes. And he said, not good. Now this whole, the BLM, all of this, I've been gone. I live in a jungle. I'm not fully aware of, I mean, I get it. I saw it like last week for the first time really in person. But I would say, yes, people have different views on what Larry Elder just said. What? I will ask the white citizens of non-blacks to consider that maybe he has had a different experience than you in this world. And that maybe instead of reacting mentally with violence to what he just said, consider that it's a different experience. We are not the authorities on that. So I will leave it with this on a high note. Because people don't want to hear that. That sucks. But they don't want to, and you know it. They want to hear that the more we micro-label each other, the better we'll be. The reality is, today, I challenge the state, I challenge these voters, I challenge the media. Back up. Be human first. Vote for humanity. Might be a policy wonk, might not say the same things the way you would do, and might not articulate them in a way that we're used to. But it doesn't make him bad, and it doesn't make him wrong, and it does mean that he's dedicated his life to thinking differently and wanting more. Is that so bad? I think not. So let's bring on some hope. Let's truly, if you really want to get past racial barriers, be fair in coverage. Be honest. I believe in California. I believe you can be better. And I do believe, even though when Larry and I first met today, I said I don't agree with you on certain stances. So what? Do I think fiscally and every other way, which is desperately what California needs to be saved, he will be the man for that? Absolutely. So why not try something different, something unique? It might push your buttons a little bit. Ooh, but guess what? When you put on that t-shirt with that itchy tag, you get to go home and take it off and be comfortable again. And sometimes we have to address the wound so we can run free. Thank you.
Mr. Halpern.